Hola, ¿cómo está? I'm practicing my Spanish. Not as much as I should be, but with traveling more and stuff like that, it's imperative that I learn new languages. And today, I don't even know what I really got to say. A part of me, like when I had my podcast, right? I had a podcast. I think I did, how many episodes did I do? I think I did like 33, like between 33 and 35 episodes. And you just had to be there. Like, you just had to be there. But I did 33 episodes. And every time I did an episode, like there was times, okay, let me back up. I did a podcast. I did about between 33 to 35 episodes in 1 year. So proud of myself. So proud of myself that I pushed through. Of course, there were so many times I wanted to give up. And I was just sitting here thinking about how sometimes I would have topics that I wanted to talk about. Sometimes they were really mapped out. Sometimes it was just spur of the moment. I would just talk about what was on my heart, what was on my mind, what was going on in the present moment. And it would be those times where I would just want to jump on in the present moment and just talk about what was on my heart. And then when I would turn on the camera, I would just draw a blank. Like, I didn't know how to speak. And honestly, a little bit of that came from like not talking to people. Like, I had this whole period. I think I touched on this in my last live, but if not, then whatever. But at one point in time when I was like severely in hermit mode, not communicating really with anybody except for like the people who were like around me, like very, very minimal. Okay. And even at times I wasn't really talking to them like that. Like, we would talk about like surface level stuff, but really having like thoughtful, drawn out conversations about what's going on in our lives and what's going on in the world around us and how it's affecting us. Like, and I don't mean like social media bullshit, okay? Not stuff like that, but like things that really, like, I used to miss having those types of conversations, and I used to miss relating to people in that way. But when I was severely in hermit mode, like, I wasn't talking to anybody. And I guess it's kind of like a child. If you seclude a child when they're really young, if they're not having conversation, if they're not watching anything educational, if they're not picking up on vocabulary and sentence forming and things of that nature around them, either they're going to lose what they're not using, or they never develop those proper communication skills when it comes to speaking and replying and just holding a conversation with someone. And not even just holding a conversation, more or less like just starting out as a baby into like a toddler and a young child, just being able to express themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to eat? Are you okay? Are you cold? Are you hot? Like, what's bothering you? Did somebody do something to you? Where do you want to go? How are you feeling today? Just the simple things. Like, they never really learn how to communicate. And I kind of felt like a child in a way that I, at the time, thought I had regressed. Because if anybody who knows me knows that, like, was always one of the top of my class, straight A's, loved writing, loved reading, loved literature, loved reading comprehension, loved conversations about, just almost anything. And if it wasn't a topic that I was interested in, I would still like to sit and listen to other people talk about, their interests in certain topics that I might not be interested in. I was just a communicator. Okay, like, I communicated very well, and going through I don't know if I would consider the Dark Knight episode. I just know it was a crazy like hermit mode time, and I've been through. When I look back, I've been through this at different points in my life, but I don't want to say not as severe because that time was pretty severe. Like the time I'm thinking was pretty severe. They kind of mimic each other. I was just a different age. Different people were around, involved or not involved in my life. Yeah, it was just a different space and time. But being in hermit mode, like that was very familiar to another time in my life where I just the direction I was going in, I was closed off from the world. Partially because I was forced into it. I was forced into hermit mode. And once I accepted that it was necessary, oh, I just went off the deep end. Like I just immersed myself into hermit mode so much to where everybody and everything was cut off. Like I was literally like a newborn deer or a newborn calf, like just learning how to walk and, communicate and be around people again. And not just be around people, but figure out how I relate to people. Like, how do I want to relate to people? How do I want to show up? Who am I? Going through this period of change. Like, who am I? Who do I want to be? Who have I always been? What parts of me don't need to be changed? And what parts of me have definitely changed? But going back to the podcast, like I used to just, because of the communication barrier that I felt I was experiencing, when I had so much to say, so much on my mind, so much on my heart, and the podcast was my outlet. Like that's how it started, because I didn't really trust anybody with my most inner thoughts, my feelings, the things that I was experiencing. Like some of the people that was around me were a part of some of the negative emotions that was coming up, some of the PTSD or trauma, and I was learning how to respond in real time. And I know some people listening is probably like, well, why didn't you just talk to those people? If it was that easy, then I would have just talked to those people. Love. Like, but seriously, like, the podcast was the outlet. And I used to think, like, damn, what if these people hear this podcast? Are they going to feel some type of way? And then when I would want to talk about certain things, I would kind of like leave out certain, like, I'm not going to include nobody's name, but I would leave out certain details. But it would be something that I really want to share. I felt like it was important to the story. And when I would listen back to my podcast episodes, some of them I was really proud of. Some of them I was able to get out everything. And with others, it was just like, I'm not happy with it. And I knew I wasn't happy with it because I wasn't giving all of me that I wanted to give in those episodes. I wasn't sharing everything that was on my heart that I wanted to share about certain topics. I wasn't showing up as my most authentic self. And some of you may be experiencing that now, because I know, like, the energy that we're in, we just came out of, like, or we're coming out of a full moon. Was it full moon in Leo? And supposedly, I'm not the best with this planetary alignment stuff and the transits and stuff, but I do try to stay abreast as best as possible, just personally, so that I'm more aware of what's my own energy and what is coming from me versus just what a lot of people may be experiencing simultaneously, like the collective. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what energy doesn't really belong to me, and I don't have to attach to it as something going on with me, but just accepting it as, okay, these are the themes, this is the energy that is out and about. So just be mindful of it, you know what I'm saying, and figure out where you fit in or don't fit in with the energy. But I know that I think it started like July 26th, July 27th, all the way up until December of this year. We're going to be experiencing the energy of Saturn being retrograde. So that has a lot to do with like karmic loops, karmic behavior with yourself, your personal growth. How do you see yourself? How do you want to show up? How have you been showing up? What can you detach from, and how can you be well emotionally? Like, how can you show up as your most authentic self emotionally? What do you need to let go of emotionally that no longer, really serves your highest self? And I know for me, one of the key things with this topic about wanting to post certain things and wanting to show up a certain way, like emotionally, I had to let go of caring about what other people thought, being afraid to share my experiences without causing harm to anyone else, without throwing anybody else under the bus. And even now, like, even just saying that, like, it's like, excuse me, I feel like I just spit, but even now, like, just talking about it is slightly cringy, because it's like, I know 100% that there's a few people that probably would, hopefully y'all can hear me through all this driving. I feel like when I'm in motion, I have the best thoughts. I have the best communication with myself. I can talk to myself, I can think. I'm in motion. So the emotions come up, like, I don't know. Somebody help me make the connection. Do you feel like that when you're driving? Like, when you're in motion, when you're moving, when you're traveling, you can, now I can clear my mind anywhere really, like, but I'm just saying, it's just something about driving specifically where I just feel like, oh my gosh, like, I'm having clearer thoughts. Like, I can, express myself. I can, oh, I guess so. Okay. It's taking me this way. But, yeah, I know there's people who probably would have heard those podcast episodes and felt away. And I know there's somebody who might hear this. Mind you, I didn't drop any names. I didn't say any names. But I still know that there are individuals who may just hear me expressing myself, who aren't used to hearing me express myself as if it isn't to them. Like, this is public. This is public. Once you hit done, that's it. If people decide to join, like, this is public. Once it goes up, that's it. So the fact that I'm expressing myself publicly, I haven't said any names, but the fact that I'm expressing myself publicly and I'm talking about being my most authentic self, people who were once in my life or who may be in my life now, I don't know, they might just feel like, well, why does she feel like she can't talk to us? Why does she feel like she has to go to the internet? And if you gotta ask that question, then you just gotta know that I'm just be honest. Like, I'm I'm the most comfortable with myself, which I feel like everybody should be, right? If you can't be comfortable with anybody else, you should definitely be most comfortable with yourself. But not everybody's like that. Sometimes we need a crutch. We need somebody to be there for us. We need to have a sidekick. We need to have a walking diary. Like, people have said that to me plenty of times. Like, friends I've had in the past, like, oh my gosh, you're my walking diary. Like, I could tell you anything, but I've had people that I've almost told everything to, but I've never really felt like that 100% in my life. So it's always been me and the Most High, you know? It's always been me and myself. So even though this is public, it's still me being comfortable with myself, letting all parts of me know, like, hey, you're comfortable with letting this out. There's nothing no one can take away from you for expressing yourself. There's nobody you have to answer to for sharing your life, you know? And I just want to say, maybe this is the story, like the main point. Like, it's easy as an adult to be like, oh, if you share your experiences, if you talk about yourself, if you talk about what's going on in your life, and it just happens to include other people who treat you well or who may not treat you well, and they probably don't want to be outed, even if you don't mention any names, they probably don't want to be outed, because who really does, you know? However, you're not going to get in trouble. Nobody's going to whoop your ass. Shout out to Jennifer Arnese. If you, I hope I'm saying her last name right. She has a podcast called The Black, mm, is it The Black Mother Wound? Forgive me if I'm saying the name wrong, but Jennifer Arnese, she has a podcast, and it's based on healing the inner wounds that us as women, black women, you know, experience with our mothers, you know. And she was the one who, even though I was already thinking this today, just talking to my younger self and my teenage self, um, she was the one who, sorry, I just rode past a spot where my great grandfather used to be. So personally, I use it as a memorial spot to just always acknowledge him and honor him. But yeah, she was the one who made sense of what I was already feeling and thinking when it comes to showing up just as you are. Like I said with my podcast, like I used to want it to be perfect. I used to want to have the topics down packed, everything written out, the whole conversation, the points that I was gonna hit. Like everything had to be planned out and perfect in order for me to release the episode. And if not, I felt like I used to just tell myself, like, why are you even doing this? Like, this shit don't make no sense. You're just talking and babbling. You really just need somebody to talk to. Like, do you really need a podcast, or you just need somebody to talk to? And it was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both. Yep. Because before I was in the space that I was in when I was recording a podcast, the people that were closest to me that I would talk to them, the people that were closest to me that I would have conversations about starting a podcast. No, like, okay, she's been talking about having a podcast for years, and she's been passionate about it. She even had me do, like, you know, she interviewed me. There's a few of y'all out there. Y'all probably will never see this, but there's a few people, if I was still in contact with them, I'll call them up like, yo, remember when I interviewed you for that podcast? Or, you know, we just did like a little makeshift episode just to see the vibes, you know. And they're going to say, yeah, if they not a hater. But, yeah, like, I would just talk negatively to myself, like, ain't nobody going to hear this shit. Why are you doing this? You know, knowing that it was something deep within me that I wanted to do, that I cared about, that you know, meant something to me, regardless of how it sounded. So it was so many episodes that I scrapped. So many episodes I scrapped. So many episodes that I uploaded, just very proud of it, and then I would turn right around and delete it because I was just like, oh my gosh, what if people that I know hear this? They feel some type of way about the subject, about the content, about the vocabulary that I'm using, about the fact that you can kind of hear that I was crying on that episode, and maybe they're gonna think that I'm feeling sorry for myself, and maybe they think that I'm being fake because they don't know this part of me, and oh, I have to show up perfectly. What if the people that I don't know be like, what the fuck is this? And we don't want to hear this. It was just so many what ifs. And it got to the point where, like I said, I was just deleting videos left and right. I was scrapping episodes left and right. Same thing with like TikTok content, YouTube content. Like I was so, I was still so attached, and I allowed myself to become so embedded in other people's perceptions of me and how I changed myself over time to fit into everybody else's mode and box and perception of who they thought I should be, that I completely gave up. Like every time I recorded something and deleted it, I was giving up my power. Every time I showed up and dimmed my light, I was giving up my power. Every time I showed up and I didn't wear the thing because I didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want to offend anyone with my style, with feeling good about myself, after being in hermit mode and being in a dark space, after not being able to afford something and now I can, and I know they still can, or after just there was just too many things that I was constantly tweaking and thinking about and being cautious of for the sake of other people, that I was leaking my power. I wasn't showing up as myself. And Jennifer Arnese, getting back to her, she was in her podcast today, she was talking about doing it ugly. Like, basically, nothing needs to be perfect. Just do it how you are. And a large part of me never wanting to show up imperfectly came from my childhood of feeling like no matter what I did, I was never good enough. You know? No matter how hard I tried, there was going to be somebody who was going to remind me that I needed to try harder. I needed to do better. It's not good enough. And outside of those people who were in close proximity to me, or even some strangers, like strangers be having the audacity, like the fucking audacity. But yeah, online, this new age of social media and creating content, like Jennifer Arnese said, you don't you don't really know what ugly is unless you're comparing it to something else. Even when you see other people, you don't know what ugly is as a baby or a child unless you have something else to compare it to, another face, to say another face that you found beautiful, to say, oh, that person's ugly, because compared to that other person I saw, they're ugly. Oh, I'm not ugly. I'm not ugly. Somebody might say that they're ugly because they're comparing themselves to somebody on social media who creates similar content and who people deem as being so beautiful. In the comments, that's all you see. They're not even commenting on the content or the educational material that this person has put out there. All they can talk about is their beauty. And you might be over there doing similar content, but you feel like you got to show up physically like this person in order to be heard, in order to be seen, in order to be accepted and liked, because you want to be beautiful like that person, you want to be heard like that person. And we all know that beauty will cause people to stop. Sometimes people ditch the whole message just to, or ignore the whole message just to view someone and watch someone who they deem as beautiful. And if you don't look a certain way or you don't fit a certain aesthetic or mold, they're not going to listen to you. They can care less. But like Jennifer Arnese said, after a while, once you begin to do the work and you keep showing up for yourself, what I realized was that little me thinks I'm the shit. She's the one who wants to be in front of the camera. I always felt like I was a star. I always wanted to be on stage. I always wanted to be doing something. Did I get nervous? Hell yes. However, it didn't stop me from wanting. She's so decent. It didn't stop me from wanting to do it, wanting to be it. But it wasn't until society, until I had something to compare myself to, where I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. On top of people, like I said, let me know, like, you're not good enough. And that went from childhood to teenage years to, young adult years, where you're dealing with all these different people. You're coming in contact with all these different ideals and personalities and, individuals who have their own outlooks on life. And it's like, well, damn, where do I fit in at? Am I ever going to fit in? And the little me needs to know. Now, where I kind of differ from Jennifer, our niece, was she said that the little girl in her didn't care about what people thought. I did, because at a young age, like, I just knew, like, people were judging me. Shit, I probably feel it so deeply because I was already being judged before I was out the womb. Like, my mom was judged harshly. And I surely was judged harshly as a kid. So as early as I can remember, like, now it wasn't as intense, but I can remember always kind of feeling like a little insecure. But I was definitely as a kid much more willing to put myself out there. But early on, like, it was already met with like rebuttals and no, that's not good enough, or what the fuck are you doing, or what the fuck is that, like, huh, excuse me. I hope this effect isn't on. I'm real big on, like, I hate when it be on TikTok. Because again, I want to show up as my most authentic self, however I choose to, and that be good enough. That was the point I was getting to, like, especially when it came to the content, and like she said, like Jennifer said, just showing up and doing it ugly. You don't have to be all prop and prim. You comparing yourself to somebody else and their style of how they choose to show up. Don't compare yourself to that. If you have a message, if you have something you want to share with the world, there's going to be somebody who likes it. Stop comparing yourself to the other people so that you can, again, just do you. Be your most authentic self. Like, that person is already taken. You have to be you. That's the only way you're going to that's the only way you're gonna really get what's for you, by showing up as you. And I had to learn that. I'm still learning that. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm still learning that. Daily, I'm doing something that proves to myself that, hey, like, we're healing emotionally. Yeah, I mean, like, I just hope the same for anybody that does see this. Like, if you're not already there, that it's possible. Like, you gotta be good with you. Like, point blank, period. Because at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, that's all that you have. Like, outside of the Most High Mother and Father, or whomever, or whatever you believe in, if you believe in a higher power, like, that's all that you have. And I'd be damned, like, this week alone, what has kept playing over in my mind is like, yo, like, I really don't have time to not, like myself in all that I am. The good, the what's being worked on, because I don't want to say the bad, but the good, the what's being worked on, the in between, like, all of that. I love myself. And not only do I love myself, I like myself. I like who I am. I like my quirks. I like finding out new things about myself. Like, oh, we like that? Like, oh, we got through that. Like, oh, we actually knew more about that than what we thought we did. Like, yo, like, you actually set a bar in that last video. Like, yo, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can show up just as you are and know that you will be accepted. Know that there are people out there that aren't looking through your content with a fine tooth comb and a white glove. Know that there are people not just online but in the real world who like your laugh, who like hearing you babble and go on, and they're not looking for cracks in the foundation. They're not looking for you to mispronounce a word, or they're not looking for you to disclose. Excuse me, I just low key my nose is itching. I wasn't trying to pick cookies or nothing. There's not people who are looking for you to disclose or divulge personal information just so they can throw it back in your face. There aren't people who are going to put you on a pedestal, and when they see that you're human, just like them on this path, they're not going to knock you down and say that you're worthless. Been through that too. And that was something that I had to realize, like, yo, like, when I first heard about, like, when that concept was first brought to my attention, and I forget the girl's name, but if I can remember, I'll put her page in the info section. But she was just talking about how people will really, like, put you on a pedestal, and when their perception of you, they're like, they look at you like a star. They look at you like this, like, foreign fairy celebrity star almost. Like, you know how people look at stars and, like, they can do no wrong, but then when they do wrong, or they show that they're a human being, just like you, people just, like, again, cancel culture. It's like, damn, I can't even, like, be me. Now, some shit people should be getting canceled for, like, I don't know, morally, like, anything dealing with children, women, children, yeah, you should be canceled for it. But if it's not harming anybody else, it's like, so there's nobody else who feels like this. We gonna cancel this person for what? You can't relate to this? You not a human? You ain't never have no hiccups in life? You ain't never been through anything? I didn't tell you to put me on a pedestal. That's what you wanted to do. And because I'm not living up to whatever you made up in your mind about me, you want to cancel me. You want to tear me down. You want to tell me I'm worthless. I'm not good enough. Me showing up imperfectly is not good enough. Like, no, man. You have to be good with yourself first. If I'm gonna show up on camera and my hair is not put together, but I have a good message, I have something heartfelt that I want to share, I want to share myself. I was just channeling this song today, living my life like it's golden. Oh my gosh, because I was eating a golden kiwi. And I was just like, yo, y'all hearing it here first. First of all, it's Jill Scott, right? That's bad. It's Jill Scott. Shout out to Jill Scott. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to the hometown. How they say in New York? Shout out to the towns. Shout out, we went to the same high school. Shout out to Jill Scott. Y'all heard it here first though. And this is why it's so important to put yourself out and just be your most genuine self. Like, if y'all ever watch a Jamie Foxx show, y'all know that Jamie Foxx was into, like, he was in the jingle business, right? Him and his friends, they worked at, like, this jingle place, Jingles 3000, something like that. And I used to crack up and, like, really have a key watching this show and listening to them come up with different jingles. Now, of course, it's like, a show, so it's not real, but it just opened my mind up to how, as a kid, I'm seeing these different commercials, whether it's for BK or uh, McDonald's or, oh my gosh, like, so many, like Lundy Law and like anybody that you could think of who had commercials and jingles. Think of these people. Like the girl, she just got the, what was it? Was it Dr. Pepper? Who was that girl recently? Like maybe a couple years ago that just landed that crazy deal with one of those brands. I forget what brand it was. I think it was like some type of drink brand. Was it Dr. Pepper? Was it Pepsi? I don't know. It was one of them, but y'all know who. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But just being yourself and doing your thing. Anyway, I was eating a golden kiwi. I'm about to show y'all, so y'all know I'm not bullshitting. And like I said, you heard it here first. I was eating golden kiwi because I like kiwi, but I love the golden ones. The golden ones is my favorite. If you ever see me out and you ever thinking about gifting me something, gift me some golden kiwi or some perfume or some jewelry or a spot. But listen, I was eating my golden kiwi. I stopped at the market to get more because I don't like running out of stuff that I like. So I'm eating a golden kiwi and I'm just eating it like, oh my gosh, this joint's so good. I'm feeling good. And then I'm like, I started humming a song like, living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. And who's this brand? I don't even know who this brand is. Who makes this? Zespri. Hit your girl up. First of all, we got to get cleared by my girl Jill Scott. Maybe because of me, because I'm from Philly, she might, give the okay. Y'all just drop her off the change. That she need in order to let y'all use her song. However, I was just sitting there singing a song, humming it while I'm eating my kiwi. Like, yo, this would be a bomb ass like commercial, like a jingle, or I don't know if that's considered a jingle, because you're just using a really good song that people know, and these are golden kiwi, so it's like, it just makes sense. But having like really good looking people in a video eating a golden kiwi, or like, what I'm saying, have me, put me in the video. Hi. I'm just chatting, but yeah, like put me in the video. Put me in the video. Put me in the video. Living my life like it's golden. I was feeling good eating the kiwi. There you go, right there. And I had to like just really take a bird's eye view of myself, which I do a lot, and just be like, girl, like, this is what I mean when I say just being yourself and doing your thing, and shit just comes to me. And if you take the chance, I don't know, Zespri could come on this live right now and give me a deal. But like I said, y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first. So if you hear anybody or see anybody pitch that to that kiwi brand, here's the proof right here. And I can't lie, y'all just see me with the kiwi. And it's also a part of manifesting. Like, when you just be yourself and do your thing, you never know what comes about. Like I said, you can't have what's for you if you don't show up as yourself. Now, can our true self use refinement at times? Yes. But that's a part of the process. You live, you learn, you figure things out. But to not be yourself and to not accept who you are in every phase and stage, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice, for real, for real. Oh, I love kiwi too. Listen, look, I had to re-up. I like the golden ones specifically. Regular kiwi, they're good too, but I don't really like the texture. It's a little too mushy. I like the golden ones. But I was just talking about how I was like thinking of a jingle for that specific brand of kiwi because I love the golden ones. I don't know if you listen to Jill Scott, but that song just popped up. I wish I could have showed y'all the billboard on the side of the building that said "Living my life like it's golden." Like, things just be coming around full circle, and that's how you know. Like, even if you don't believe in a higher power, you gotta know it's like special energy out there working. And it's just little things like that that confirm it. At least for me, like I said, I don't know what everybody believes in, but I do. Some things you just can't explain. What is it? Cows? Is it cows tabs cook? Are you a cook, Kyle? Do you like to cook? I think he did. I don't blame you, Kyle. But I think I'm about to dip too. I just wanted to share that message with y'all. And I appreciate you, Kyle, for stopping by, for coming through. I think you're probably the first person that ever tuned into one of my lives. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I guess the message for today was really just like showing up as your most authentic self. Pretty much that's what I was getting at, showing up as your most authentic self and not apologizing for it and not tweaking it. Like I need something that reminds me to not, like, when I feel the urge to tweak myself to make other people comfortable, I have to, I don't know, maybe that song could be it, living my life like it's golden. Yeah, because if you live your life as like it's golden, that doesn't sound like you're allowing people to stop you from doing your thing. Um, don't sound like it to me. But I'm about to park. I just wanted to get on here and chat because I had a long drive, and that was on my mind. Like that was on my heart, you know. And I hope any of you that tune into this later on, I hope this message, it was kind of all over the place, but at the same time, kind of not. Like at some point, I reeled it in. I feel like the more I do that, the more I'll the more I do it, the more natural it'll be. Yeah, yeah. Which still ties into the message of just showing up as your most authentic self. Like, did you ever think that you would get to a point in life, for those of you who can relate, did you ever think that you would get to a point in life where you would have to figure out how to be your most authentic self, like how to show up as yourself? Like, it just seems so like, just be you. But when the world, tells you that that's not good enough or that's not right or like you're doing something wrong being you, it's like you try to replace you with so many other things. And it may make sense for a little bit, but after a while, like, it just won't make sense anymore. And you're going to have to figure out how to be you anyway. So my advice would be, as soon as possible, just 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 do you. Just be you. Kyle, are you back? Who is this here? I'm about to end this live, you guys, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. I wonder how I can figure out who's here. But either way, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for anyone who's gonna watch this message after, or like the replay. And I hope to see y'all, some other time. Get up with your girl.